Why won't a God realized guru shower me with one-on-one personalized attention? Namaste, I'm Pulkit Mathur, founder of the Spiritual Bee, and in our last video we saw how God realized gurus do not rely on their physical body to help people. They instead utilize their subtle body as well as their universal consciousness, both of which work on vastly different principles than the physical body. The subtle body, for example, can fly in the air. It can penetrate quite easily the strata of rocks. It can plunge deep into a conflagration of fire or the depths of the sea. It can move about with lightning speed. It can travel from Colombo to London in a second. It cannot be hurt even if it falls from the summit of a mountain. So this is how the subtle body works. It is quite different from the physical body. And God realized gurus rely on it to give help to millions of people simultaneously. Now, because great gurus use their subtle body as well as their universal consciousness to give spiritual help to people, therefore it hardly matters whether they are living in their physical body or not. Their help can still be sought by means of prayers in times of difficulties. In fact, after giving up the physical body, such sages continue to live in their subtle body to help people. Now here you will ask, Didi, I understand that even if a sage has left his or her earthly body long ago, he or she will still help me. But what if I have questions and doubts about spirituality and sadhana? How will I ask them those, and how will they answer? Actually, there is a very simple way in which many of the common questions and doubts which arise in spirituality can easily be resolved. The great gurus, in their infinite compassion, have made bountiful provisions for that. We shall see this way in the next video. But in this one, I want to acquaint you with one very important fact which many people don't really think of. This fact is as follows. Suppose we were to find a God-realized sage living in his or her physical body today. Do you think such a sage will sit down with us and answer each and every curiosity question we have and teach us the ABCs of spirituality? Do you think such a sage will meet us frequently and provide us with one-on-one verbal guidance on how to meditate, etc.? Do you think he will make himself personally available whenever we encounter a difficulty in our life or in sadhana? He will not. He will simply not have the time to do so. I am using the male gender here to refer to the guru, but God-realized gurus are also women. So to expect a God-realized guru to dedicate so much of their time to answering our personal questions and doubts is an extremely unrealistic expectation. Why is this so? There is actually a very important reason for it. We must understand that with great power also comes great responsibility. Many people think that after attaining to God realization, a guru has nothing more left to do, and so he sits and relaxes and devotes all his time to teaching disciples and answering their questions. But this is not the case at all. A guru may devote some time to this activity, but for the most part, even after attaining to God realization, the guru will continue to remain immersed in arduous meditation and sadhana. Now you may wonder, why do such sages need to do any more meditation? Haven't they attained to the ultimate goal of God realization and self realization? Yes, they have. So the sadhana they do is not for themselves but for others. Pavhari Baba, the God realized sage, had explained this fact to Swami Vivekananda. Once Swamiji asked him, Baba, why don't you come out of your cave and help the world? Pavhari Baba replied, do you think that the physical help is the only help possible? Is it not possible that one mind can help other minds even without the activity of the body? Pavhari Baba was referring to the fact that he was using his subtle body, also known as the Sukshma Sharir or the mind, to help others. If you want to learn more about the subtle body, then do watch the video Mind Accompanies Soul After Death. So the help given through the subtle body is far superior to any kind of help one can give with the physical body. When you can help millions through the subtle body, why will you spend time helping only 100 through the physical body? Now you may ask, what kind of help can a sage give through the subtle body which is so great? So let us understand one such profound help which has been described by Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya in his writings. This help pertains to the immense tapasya that Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Aurobindo, and Maharishi Raman did to free India from the British. With their Herculean sadhana, these sages awoke India's sleeping Kundalini Shakti so that her people could gather within their minds the strength and the courage to fight for freedom. But why was such a tremendous sadhana needed? Because in those days, due to a prolonged oppression under British rule, as well as due to other factors such as the caste system, child marriage, and the low status of women, Indians had become an utterly subservient, mentally weak, demoralized, and defeated lot. Just as today we cannot imagine that India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh will ever overcome their differences and unite to form Akhand Bharat, in the same way, in those days, people could not conceive that the British would ever leave. They had resigned to living a life of slavery. To make matters worse, the intellectuals of that time, who had the power to guide the masses, had themselves lost their way. They had tragically come to admire Western culture and look down on their own. Seeing England's tremendous wealth, success, and power, they would question, if Hinduism and Vedic ideals were really so great, why did India decline and become a slave? These intellectuals could not understand that in the Middle Ages Hindus had only paid lip service to Vedic ideals and never applied them properly in their daily lives. For example, if Hindus had really applied the Vedic ideal of Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, God resides in the soul of all, there would have been no caste-based injustices in India. There would have been equality and brotherhood instead. However, the truths of the Vedas, Upanishads, and Gita were present only in theory in India. Their practical application was missing, and hence the country declined. Now, because Indian intellectuals harbored these feelings of inferiority, therefore they could not muster the strength to stand up and oppose British injustices. And therefore they failed to inspire their countrymen to overthrow their colonial exploiters. So this was the sorry situation back then. Hence, it was to awaken in the minds of the Indian people the divine qualities of self-respect, pride in their own culture, courage, bravery, righteousness, devotion to high ideals, and above all patriotism for the motherland that Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Aurobindo, and Maharishi Raman undertook the immense tapasya to awaken India's Kundalini Shakti. The centers of higher consciousness, that is the chakras, lie in the subtle body. And so it is in the subtle realm or the Sukshma Jagat that the rishis act to awaken people to a higher consciousness. Recall that the subtle body is nothing but the mind. And the minds of great rishis have expanded and attained oneness with the universal mind. Within this universal mind, all our individual little minds are contained like fruits in a bowl. Therefore, when these rishis power up the ocean of the universal mind with their prana shakti and fill it with their enlightened thoughts, both of these then percolate into individual people's minds and inspire them to do extraordinary things. As Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya has explained, it was the effect of the powerful sadhana of these rishis that within a short span of time, innumerable freedom fighters, social reformers, and leaders of a very high moral and intellectual caliber came forward within India. They completely transformed Indian society by not only getting rid of numerous social evils, but with their unshakable devotion to the motherland, with their zeal and selfless sacrifice of worldly comforts, job security, and above all their own lives, they filled the public with such tremendous inspiration and vigor that within a short span of time, the independence which had earlier seemed impossible became possible. So this was the effect of the rishis' tapasya. The birth of these and other great rishis in the crucial period just before India's independence was not a coincidence. There was a purpose and a plan. The aim being to free India and to set the stage for the future descent of Satyug through the spread of the unifying spiritual ideals of Vedanta across the world. Now, some of you may be skeptical hearing all this, and that is all right. It takes time to understand and appreciate these truths. Swami Vivekananda, on his last day on earth, just prior to taking Mahasamadhi, said to himself, "It will take another Vivekananda to understand what this Vivekananda has done." And that is absolutely right. Only a spiritual giant can gauge what another has accomplished. Only a great scientist can appreciate the contributions of another Nobel laureate. We who are still in our spiritual kindergarten, who live a materialistic existence and reside in an ordinary consciousness, we have not the qualifications to evaluate the magnitude of contribution of these great rishis. Therefore, I always feel that it is the greatest fortune to accept any one of these rishis whom I represent on the spiritualbee.com as one's guru. Giants of their caliber and capabilities are very rare. One has to have done some great karma in their past life to have landed at the feet of these gurus in this life. Therefore, we must catch hold of their hand and never let it go. Now, associated with this Rishi Tapasya is an important fact. This fact is that initially Sri Aurobindo started off by physically participating in India's freedom struggle. But he soon realized that there was a far superior way in which he could help, and therefore he retired to the seclusion of Pondicherry and plunged into sadhana. One of the results of Sri Aurobindo's tremendous sadhana was that India attained her freedom on August 15th, the date of Sri Aurobindo's birthday. This date was specially chosen by the divine as a gift to Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo has himself spoken about it in a wonderful message he gave about his 5 dreams. Everyone should read it to understand the magnitude of tapasya Sri Aurobindo undertook in order to free India as well as for the betterment of the world. The link to it is below this video. So you see, even after attaining to God realization, a sage is not sitting free. He or she is typically immersed in deep sadhana to help people. And many times, just like Sri Aurobindo, these sages go into complete seclusion for months, if not years, when it is not possible for anyone to meet them. During the war to liberate Bangladesh from Pakistan, both Pandit Sriram Sharma Achar and Mother Meera did tremendous sadhana. Pandit Sriram Sharma, in fact, had gone into complete seclusion for many months in the Himalayas during the Bangladesh war. No one could meet him. The result of both their sadhanas was that despite tremendous opposition from powerful nations such as the United States, India succeeded in liberating Bangladesh, a country which had been decimated by genocide unleashed by an angry Pakistani army. There are many more examples of tremendous sadhanas performed by these great sages that I can give, but I will stop here, as hopefully I have demonstrated that we cannot take the time of a God-realized sage for granted. We cannot selfishly think that we are the only person to whom they have to cater to in the whole world. And we cannot selfishly demand and take up their time for resolving our elementary beginner level curiosities. If we do meet a living God-realized sage, they may solve some of our queries, but they will certainly expect us to do purusharth for the rest. So what kind of purusharth or hard work is to be done by us? How do we resolve our doubts? There is a very easy way which I will discuss in the next video. Until then, if you wish to immerse yourself in the profound spiritual knowledge of these rishis, then please visit the free books section on the spiritualbee.com. Another thing you can do is to subscribe to our daily quotes broadcast via WhatsApp or Telegram. In this broadcast, you will receive one quote of spiritual knowledge from these rishis daily, which you can use to deepen your sadhana.